Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be taking you through how I've organised my freezer. I have a French store style fridge and drawer freezer, so it's a bit trickier to organise because there are some deep spaces in there because it's a drawer. But first things first with any organisation is pulling everything out. So I've just used a couple of laundry baskets so I can house everything, and you have to be relatively quick when you're organising a freezer because of course you've got frozen items, you don't want them to defrost, otherwise you won't be able to refreeze them. So I've pulled everything out and I'm just going to give everything a really good clean. I'm just starting off by washing all my containers. So these two that I'm washing at the moment are new ones, so I want to give them a really thorough wash. And then the other ones are containers that I already had in there, so just making sure that they're really clean. Any food debris or anything like that is nicely cleaned out. And then I'm just going in, I found it easiest with the vacuum cleaner. There was a lot of sort of dust and little food particles in there, so it was easiest to just go in with the vacuum cleaner. And then I've just used an all-purpose cleaner and a microfiber cloth to clean everything out. For any marks that I've found on there, I've just mixed a small paste of bicarb soda and water, and as you can see it takes any marks right off, which is fantastic. So I'm just doing that and then wiping everything down with the microfiber cloth and all-purpose cleaner. So now that the freezer's been nicely cleaned, I'm just going to start sorting through all the food. So I'm just pulling everything out of the baskets and arranging it on the kitchen bench, and I'm just sorting it out into categories. So frozen fruit, frozen veg, any meats, any breads or pastries, any meal prep stuff, and I'm just going through and very roughly categorizing it. I'm also going through and checking if anything is old and needs to be disposed of or past its expiration date. And as I'm going through, I'm just making notes of what I have and quantities, and you'll see why later on, because I'm going to make a final list of my freezer inventory. So before I put everything in, I'm just getting all the containers and placing them where I think they will be best placed. And this will give me an idea of what might be best to be housed in certain areas. So I'm just seeing how everything fits together, what quantities I've got of each of the categories of food, and what's going to fit best into those containers. So even though I went through and put containers that I thought would go well with particular categories, I've still moved things around. It's just trial and error. You've got to see how things fit best and work in your freezer for you. So just keep moving things around and trialing things until you get something that you're happy with. So I've just taken a whiteboard and I'm just drawing lines. So this is going to be a little inventory list of what we've got in the freezer. So by doing this, it just makes it easier than having to rummage around and see what you've got. You can very clearly see, you know, how many pieces of meat you might have or what frozen fruit and veg you've got in there. So everything that I've made a list of on that piece of paper as I was sorting through, I'm just going through and transferring that over to that whiteboard. So that way I can go through, and when I'm meal planning, it's nice and easy to see what we've got in there that might need to be used up, how much of things we've got, and what we might need to buy more of. So I've just finished organising the freezer. Let me take you through how exactly I've organised it all. Okay, so let me show you how I've organised the freezer here. So on the top here, we've got all the things in this box that need to be used up first. So that's easy to corral that, and I know I've got to check here first for what exactly needs to be used up. Over here, I've got a couple of meal prep / snack meal items. Under here, I've got miscellaneous, so things like yeast, some cookie dough, that type of thing. And then over here is all the ice creams. And then this drawer, which doesn't close or anything that well, unfortunately, pushes back. And then over here, we've got majority of the main items. So let me take you in a bit closer. Okay, so here is our meat and fish section. So we've got lots of bacon that we need to go through. And I've got the salmon and prawns here. And then I can lift this up, and underneath is where I've got most of the meat stuff. So I've popped in what I can here. So minces, chickens, more mince down the side, ham, and then here is our bread and pastry section at the back, which fits in really nicely. And this is good, it's utilising that deep space by creating layers, so I can pop that on top. I've also just popped the ice packs and ice cubes in here, just this little shelf here. So here is our organised freezer. Now, this is by no means perfect or as neatly organised as I would like, but I've made do with the containers that we have and the space that we have, and tried to utilise that as best I can. So by creating layers, like creating this little section on top of the underneath section, again, it just makes use of that really deep space of the freezer. Slotting in thin and tall things behind where there's space, again, creating layers on top here. These containers fit perfectly as well. These are just from Kmart, and they fit so perfectly to store our fruit and veg, so that's really great. And again, I've got a little bit of space left behind here if I've got some mince or something that I can freeze in a flat layer, and I can put that behind here.